Okay. Now I think that we're getting into a much more proper rhythm. I feel like we should be getting into it a little bit more. I was just hoping to see if more people were going to show around, but at the same time, I'm not really expecting too much of a big showing regardless, but we're going to be talking about a very crucial topic. Just want to be sure if the audio levels are pretty balanced and whatnot. Nothing's too overpowering or anything in that regard. But all in all, we're going to be having a really nice, fun, yet free discussion because I don't think we have much of anything planned in terms of like question structure, so we're just pretty much winging it. What's good, Densuo? I'll hop in the chat now, actually. Yo.
What's up?
Not much. You guys?
Feeling pretty good right now. It's my day off.
Hey. That's nice, that's nice. Alrighty. So, what's been everybody up to as of late?
Just work, really, just work. Just waiting for all this garbage to be done so I can get that one thing I'm taken care of and also get to the gym. Also ordering parts piece by piece from my PC.
Mm-hmm.
My process.
Yeah, I've also just been doing work, dealing with stuff in New York City because stuff is going on in the world. But otherwise, boring stuff.
Yep.
Oh, you're from New York too? Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, you actually met each other before.
Pretty sure. Well,
At the Waypoint Cafe.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm still trying to learn the names and faces of everyone at Waypoint. That's gonna take a while.
It will. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot more important now that we haven't really been at Waypoint in months.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, hopefully we can get back in there because I really do miss that place.
I really do too. Much more. It's much closer than going to the next level. It's. I think it's somewhat reasonable in price too.
Oh yeah,
I
very
mean,
reasonable.
next level isn't expensive. The only thing that's a pain in the ass about going to next level is honestly the way that they have things set up probably wouldn't really work out for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the only issue I have. So since that place is generally where people are going to play fighting games, I figure it's going to be really, really difficult to get a Gundam thing going there. And then the only other thing that's really a pain in the rear end is honestly getting there is so weird. But
Yeah.
it's not as bad as the original next level spot. The original next level spot was a much bigger pain in the rear end to get to.
I think
Mm-hmm.
I've only been to next level like once or twice, and getting there was just a chore. It just made me not want to go, no matter what event they had there. This is a pain.
Like no, the current one's not as bad. It's not as bad. But
Yeah.
the old one was really really rough getting there. The only thing that really offset it was that all the spots that were there to get food were like dirt cheap,
Mm-hmm.
like super cheap.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten to the previous next level location, which was I think in 8th Avenue, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna have locals again, because I really want to test out whenever we have the opportunity, the land mode, whenever the game drops.
Oh yeah,
I just
definitely.
want to make sure it works. So I just don't know when we can test it out.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, pretty cool that they're adding that. Actually, speaking of which, I also noticed that there was a patch that was downloaded for Mbon. What was that about?
Probably fixing some of the pre-order stuff.
Yeah, they just fixed a link so you can pre-order. Yeah, it was just like a link to the pre-order to the store and stuff like that. It wasn't anything major.
Like I already pre-ordered it, so I'm assuming once the game drops, then I get the little bonus for Battle Operation 2. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's
Or is that,
yeah, you get the operator or whatever.
but that's when the game drops.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
That's
Okay.
a nice little cross promotion.
But gonna take a break from Mbon from GBO2. Granted, I got my hand Robbie, and I actually had another escape moment recently. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, that actually went pretty good this last week of the beta. I tried out Ham Robbie, and for the most part, I think I did all right. Not really sure when to really use CSA on that suit, but otherwise, everything else seems fine. I'm not liking the change to the assists, where they only fire now when you fire sub. That's kind of dumb to me, but yeah, whatever.
I played a little bit of the beta because they keep changing my work schedules. Now I work on weekends or at night, so I can like barely get home, play till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I have to sleep because I have to work again.
Oh,
And
they got
and
you work
even
the week.
yeah, and even worse than that, all the time, all the high level rooms are always full. So I just get like put into newbie or low level rooms, and I feel really bad because if you look at my Twitter, I get like 20, 30 win streaks, and I just feel bad. It's like there's no other rooms. What do you want me to
I
do?
mean, if that's the case, then I mean, why not play shuffle or play with like suits you're not accustomed to? Give yourself a bit of a handicap, if you will.
I've been I've
Or
been
are you
I've been doing that.
or
I've been playing like hold shuffle for suits. The thing I've been doing is every time I lose, I just change my suit. That's the little challenge I give. But I think I might just do what I did at Magfest when they had their cabs because I knew
yeah,
everyone there did not know how to play.
yeah.
I just put it on random. I was like, nah, fuck it.
You didn't want to. Okay, I get it now. You didn't want to just delete
Absolutely
people
stomp.
and kill the fun for the kill them, kill the chances of them playing the game. I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah.
I'm still. I mean, I haven't played it forever, so I'm still like extremely rusty. So I can't even do half the freaking moves, half the movement I should be able to do at this point. And kind of pissed me off watching Blue play Alex last week, and I'm like, this son of a bitch is playing Alex better than I do. But even that, but even then, I kind of honestly feel like I actually kind of feel bad about playing Alex right now because it's definitely the suit I've played the most. But the 1.5 change, now that I really sat down and thought about it, I'm like, you know what? This change, it's not so much that I have to relearn the suit, but I really have to remove a bad habit of mine because I was thinking about it. I'm like, yo, I'm like, it can't be that that I have to relearn the suit. It's the suit that I've played the most, and even if other suits are easier, even if other suits are easier to play, like let's say Ham Robbie's pretty easy to play in my opinion. Uh, Camper's a lot easier to play. Buster's a lot easier to play. Even then, it's still the fact that I still played the suit enough to know what to do with it. So then I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Let me look back at some of my matches because I don't have a crap load of matches saved up,
Hmm.
and that's when it hit me. It's not so much that the 1.5 cost is hurting me, because the suit is overall better since it has new routes and et cetera, et cetera. But it's because I was way more reckless as a 1K. Like I was way more reckless. Like I used to. I think it's safe to say that I really abused the whole. If you're playing with the 2.5, you get 3 lives kind of thing, and you're not getting away with that anymore.
Yeah,
Hmm.
when I started playing back in vanilla, and I played a lot of 1K suits, and I had that same bad habit you did. I was like, man, I could live 3 4 times. Fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah,
So that was a bad habit I had to get rid of real quick.
Hmm.
yeah, it's definitely a bit of a wake up call. But even then, I mean, I do still feel ultimately that Alex, because of the change, now the suit is a lot more demanding.
Yep.
I mean, it's even then. I'm glad at least that one of the big changes they gave it was the CSA bazooka instead of the stupid Gatlings that were useless. So that gives us so much more offensive potential. It's not even funny. But other than that, I mean, also, hey, what's up, Jax? I hate you. No.
Uh, Not really.
Uh,
Let me mess around with the audio a little bit more, just see if I can
all right.
up it. So just keep talking. I'll just try to see if I can find a nice little happy medium.
I mean, other than that, I think my experiences have been mostly positive. I just have to remember to not, be too picky about what people are doing because, one, it's a beta. I mean, I'm pretty sure that aside from a lot of veteran players, there are still going to be a lot of people trying the game out for the first time that don't know what the hell they're doing,
Hmm.
and there's going to be even more people probably like me that are just rusty as hell.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
hopefully people don't.
I've seen a lot of that. I mean, most veterans for me, they pretty much stick to like the high level rooms, which is good because I'm trying to get into those rooms. Since I've been going to the rando rooms, I just see a lot of like middle tier players that are like still learning the game but understand basics, and then you just have like brand new players that don't really know what they're doing. And you can tell by how they move, the suit they use is just like they just are a fish out of water. So I have to like
But
temper myself.
you know what though? I do have to say one quick thing. I'm actually really happy to say this. I haven't been seeing a lot of um what's the term?
Hmm.
Haven't seen a lot of subtweeting, and I haven't seen people talking trash or being. And that's my fault, dude. I'll speak up. There hasn't been a lot. I haven't seen a lot of negativity from players, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of people who are either veterans or anybody who's played the game for a long time is very excited about the game, and then you have people that are new to the game, either stating that they're enjoying the game or reaching out for assistance, and then they're getting swarmed. Like they're getting zerged rush with people. Um, they're getting zerged rushed with people offering to help. I haven't gotten the chance to run into Mahoko's stream. I did go once checks, but when I went in there, like I was just being positive and just shooting the breeze with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say, but you know, I can't run around and be like, "Oh, y'all shouldn't be negative," because then I'll be a hypocrite. But I do hope that people will be. I still feel that it's mostly positive. I think
Yeah.
it's mostly positive for the most part.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean, I
also
know you're.
seeing
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm also seeing a lot of like cross community relations as well, because I feel like a lot of people in the FC in particular, because I also play fighting games, so I follow a lot of those people. I see a lot of them just like, oh man, betas. I never played Gundam before, and then we try like, oh, mutuals. Like, can you teach me? I'm seeing a lot of that, and I think that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
the positivity and stuff is actually really working. People are actually interested and want to play.
Yep, and a bunch of the other stuff is that I think most people are getting tired of actual traditional fighting games and the way that netcode hasn't really been helpful and kind of keep on going. So Gundam is a nice change of pace for everybody that's looking for a bit of an out, but at the same time maintain that level of competitive ability to kind of have some fun with it as well. Just learn something.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't people that worked on EX versus people who actually worked on fighting games before,
I
or
think
was that like some,
so.
or was that something that someone just told me to blow smoke up my ass?
I'd have to double check. The only thing I remember is that there's some people that have been inspired or have done virtual on for sure. There's some people,
Yeah,
there's some members on the team. I'm not sure about fighting games. I had to double check.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't really see why fighting game players wouldn't enjoy this game because there's a lot of intensity in this game, and as easy as it is to get into the game, there's somebody tweeted this. They were saying that there seems to be like this little barrier that isn't explained to weaker players that they have to get through to finally really start being good at the game. Um, so I think if a lot of people who do play fighting games, I don't really see any reason why they wouldn't enjoy this game. Not
I
only
think
that, but there's also one other thing I really do like. I mean, sure, we do have our certain derp suits, but I think this game is a lot more forgiving to play low tiers than it is to play other fighting games. It's
Hmm.
not
yes.
like, for example, Marvel, where you play Marvel. Like looking at Marvel, like let's use Marvel 2 as the prime example.
Oh yeah.
You have your gods, and they just make so much of the cast completely irrelevant. It's not. I don't really feel it's like that in this game.
Yeah, so two things. So that beginner thing was, I mean, there's been an issue since like vanilla and an issue of like Bandai with this series. It's just that there are no tutorials at all. I don't know if you looked at the move list in game. It's probably the most garbage move list I've ever seen in a game in my life.
It
It
is.
explains absolutely nothing. Like it's a joke.
That's something that I really hope that we as a community. I feel that a lot of people have been stating this. Like one of our first guests, Mitsuano, who helped us pop the cherry on this series. He mentioned that he wanted to do that. I believe the previous guest that we have here also stated the same thing. And I feel like a lot of players have really said that they want to make more content where they're at least able to show things in the game and help people learn the game. Because I don't see any reason why this game wouldn't be more shown or even included as a side thing in fighting games in FCC tournaments, because like I said, there is the competitive aspect, and I'm hoping that this game will also have a little more variety than what happened with Full Boost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the balance of this game, and I've been saying that with, like people I talk to and in like various discords, the balance of this game is actually I think really good. It's like whenever I play, I mean, people like to use tier lists or whatever. I don't think I'm at that level where tier lists are like 100% for me, but I still use it as a general guide. But I've played lower tier suits, and I never felt like I was,
Absolutely
getting
outclassed.
absolutely destroyed or like, wow, this suit is absolutely terrible. There are, I think, maybe 5 or 6 suits that are like, you should never play this suit if you're trying to play seriously. But otherwise,
Yeah.
most suits, if like your fundamentals go a long way for the most part.
Yeah, I do like how certain suits are going to call you out if your fundamentals are crap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's like
Certain in
the
particular.
yeah, even if it's like the lowest tier, there's always that one suit that's gonna blow you up regardless if you're playing a top tier suit or not. If it's your fundamentals that are lacking, there's that one suit that will definitely blow you up.
I'm always reminded of one of the players and a guy I know, Airmaster, and he plays Victory 1. I've never seen anyone play Victory 1 that good. It amazes me.
Victory 1, is that the 1K?
That's I think it's a 2K.
It's a 2K max boost, but there's the Hexa version, which is the
That's a
1.5.
1K. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but he plays a 2K version, and like I lose to it. I'm like, how is this possible? Like, what is this suit?
That's the one that kind of like throws its limbs and stuff at you,
Yep.
right?
Yep,
Yes.
that's the one.
Yeah, I think Might FL gave me the best description of that. So it was like Victory 1's like, what are you doing? It's such a weird ass suit. It's actually funny because one of my friends he pre-ordered the game. He actually liked some of the Gundam series, and he was really scared because he doesn't really want to play competitive. And I'm like, dude, don't even worry about it. If you don't want to play competitive because that's just not what you are, then there's still a lot of there's a lot of PVE content, so we can brawl up. I told him, and he was just like, because I showed him a couple of match videos, and he was like, oh my god, there's like so much stuff going on, and he's like, is PVE like still that crazy? And I'm like, it can be, but it's a little slower, so you can just have fun and be silly with it. It was like, fuck
Well,
it,
they added back the mission mode that I liked from like previous series, and like that'll keep you occupied for like at least like 10-15 hours. It's a pretty extensive mission mode. There's a lot of stuff to do, and there's also like unique bosses and stuff that you wouldn't see in a regular match. So there's definitely reasons to do the PVE content for sure.
Yep.
Now we just gotta make sure we hack the game so that we can start running quadruple big Zams.
Like GVS, it's. I'm actually amazed people managed to crack that game after
That's hilarious
a
though.
long time. And Bandai's not gonna patch it too because it's pretty much beyond their
Yeah.
scope at this point. Their focus is now intrinsically on all the other stuff that they have in their line.
okay, though.
So yeah,
That's okay though, because at least from what I can tell so far, it looks like Mbon, the version of Mbon that we're getting, the game's in a pretty good spot. I mean, there are a couple of things that are pretty stupid, like certain suits in shooting bursts are just hilarious.
Yep.
But for the most part, that's still something that everybody has access to. So it's not something where people are gonna be like, "It is broken." Not gonna be like that.
yeah. Imagine if we.
Yeah, you can go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, imagine if we actually got the vanilla Max Boost.
Oh boy.
I still hate that Chex said it was my game, and he's like 100% correct. Because all my favorite suits were top tier in that game. It's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Chex, I agree. It is kind of dumb where you have a suit that has multiple forms, and you only show the form's first moves. The first forms. That hurt my head. What the hell? Ah, man. Bamco, please. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be, you're enabling for Latios right now.
Uh,
Man. Well, like I said, I think one thing I'm really happy about right now is I do see a lot of positivity. I do hope the positivity sticks around. And that's just me talking from being a concerned, since like I said, 'cause I was a pretty salty bastard in the past, and I'm really been trying to stay away from that stuff. And that hot buttonness is still there, but I haven't been acting like a dumbass yet. And it's even better when I was able to hop into Blue's chat, and I was able to talk to some of the people that were in that room, and
yep.
got to shoot the breeze with someone. So that was good.
Yeah.
But that's also kind of why I prefer. It's also kind of why I preferred meeting up with people and stuff because like you get to just talk about things a lot more, and it's just I don't know, it's just more enjoyable.
Yeah, you don't lose that
But
context, and it's like a lot. It's a lot harder for people to get offended because they can see your face, they can see how you act, so they're not going to take your words like 100% as seriously. So yeah, I prefer talking to people offline and offline events, things like that.
Yeah.
We don't have that opportunity right now, but hopefully at some point we'll start those back up immediately.
yo, Blue, that
Eventually.
reminds me.
Yeah.
Let's remember. I keep saying I've said this at least in three of these podcasts, and I'm gonna say it almost every time. We
Mm-hmm.
got to remember once this game drops, the first thing we're gonna freaking do is go to options and make sure that they don't have a setting like random
Yes.
versions where you can shut your comms off.
Yes. Yes. We
Oh
definitely
God.
got to check that because that was the dumbest shit that they've ever pulled with the GVS. The absolute dumbest.
I'm gonna miss custom comms though. Why did they take that out?
Bad
Hold
manners.
on, hold on. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it is a good thing that they removed that. I
No,
actually
it is.
remember.
I'm joking. It is, but it's just like it was funny.
I mean, I guess if you have people who are just silly, and
Right.
we have like silly little comms, and there's also the fact that you can customize one communication to. Oh, excuse me. If you have the space, you can fit in where it says, "Hey, I have burst ready plus hey they're behind you or something like that," and people will get it, but eh, I think ultimately no. I mean, people are gonna find a way to abuse it anyway because I mean people do that in Gundam Battle Operation 2. They'll find a way, but
Yeah, they will.
I think ultimately it had to go. There's too much potential for abuse.
Yeah, that's fine. I understand.
Just please don't put it automatically off at the start.
Glad you
I'll
were
end up getting
there.
I'll end up getting blocked by somebody again if that happens. I guess.
Yep. Glad you were there
Yeah,
because of
I have to
you.
tell Ladius about that. There was when that thing happened, we were having a session, and one of our players was a bit upset because he felt that
That's the
his
that's the
partner
one.
was not communicating, and me and my partner was like, "Hey, wait a minute, you're getting my messages, right?" And he said no, and I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's like, you haven't been calming. And I'm like, "Yes, I haven't." We went to a match, and I'm like, "Yo, did you get my comment?" And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, hold on a second.
Oh Jesus.
Back out of the room, go to the settings." This is after a patch, and I'm like, "Yo, the pat the comm settings are set to off to not receive anybody's comms." And everybody was like, "Are you serious?" And everybody backs out. We go over what the person, the person who wasn't, who the other guy was talking about, where they were potentially getting upset. He comes in, and he was a little upset because I guess they weren't doing well. It happens. But then he's like, "Yo, you're not getting my comms." He's like, "I think something happened." Because he's like, "Yo," he's like, "Oh, he's like, "I'm calming. What's going on?" And he's like, "Yo, we found out that this, that, and the other. Check your settings." And everybody was like, "Dude, this is bullshit." And
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
that like
stupid.
that
Yep.
that stopped like that prevented a spat from happening alone, and that was worth it in itself. But
Yep.
then it's the fact that we discovered that, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, I'm like, yo, we need to get on Twitter. We need to spread the word." And one guy responds to me and says, basically, "Why are you demanding that everybody put their comms on? What if people don't want to use comms?" And I'm like, I took it serious, and I'm like, okay, like let me explain myself. The thing is that this is a team game, and some players they do take the game seriously, and they rely on communications because this game doesn't have chat. So unless you're like on Discord or something, or specifically chatting with somebody, if you're playing with a random in ranked, because it's shuffle, because ranked, if I'm not mistaken, is always shuffle anyway,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
then you're gonna miss important communication. It's like, oh, just let people play how they want to play it. I'm like, yes, but that's the
No, one
thing.
of
Like,
those people. Yep.
Yep.
I told them, I'm like, look, if people don't want to play with comms, that's fine. But if you want to play with comms, would you honestly expect a patch doesn't announce that it's setting your comms to off? And he just like, oh, you're a jerk, blah blah blah. Let them play how they want, and he blocked me. I'm like,
Of course.
okay.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, let the GH get his
Every
day in
time.
court.
So you guys wanted
Um,
to talk about fronting?
that's the thing we're looking to
Yep.
do today. Actually, yes.
And I guess for the viewers that are probably unaware of what's going on, you might as well just introduce yourself, Latios.
Oh yeah, we've been talking for this long. I didn't even introduce myself. All right.
Yep.
So I'm LatiosG. I've been playing Gundam since. Well, I've been playing them since like the old games that like no one plays. They were on the PSP and the PS2, but those don't matter anymore. But I've been playing since like vanilla on PS3. I wouldn't say I'm a competitive player, but I'm pretty active. Like I like to do competitions, like to play with my friends. I take the game fairly seriously. I like to talk about the game a lot, so I'd say I'm pretty well informed. Um, so yeah, I think that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there are like so the Gundam questions you got, I can spit out that. But that's like a small introduction to myself and my history with the series.
Alrighty.
Excellent. So since Blue has a girl for his avatar, and then I have a guy, and everything they got Latios, and the only thing I keep thinking about is Latios from Soccer Spirits. Christ. Oh man. Anyway, let me stop. No, she has good art. She has good art. But anyway, so I wanted to just bring up one thing first because I wanted to get this out of the way, and I asked a friend of mine. This is a guy who I have a lot of trust in, both when it comes to Gundam and also as a friend. He's one of the guys who's helped me talk to me about things, especially when it came to when when I was at my lowest point in being very very negative when it came to being this game, very salty, resulting in spats. Took myself out of the game for pretty much. I had played G versus for a bit, and then this second spat had happened, and I'm like, you know what, this is becoming a problem, and I can't do this because now I'm not enjoying the game, and now I'm potentially ruining other people's enjoyment of the game. Let me not do this shit. So I took a break. He was one of the guys that was always talking about this. I asked him one question about this when it comes to fronting, and so I asked him, what do you think give me one topic that you would aim to tell beginning players, and the one he mentioned brought up the one thing that I was negative about. And he says, don't overcommit. And when I asked him to elaborate in terms of a beginner, he had a bit of trouble. So I decided, you know what, let me brainstorm on myself. And using my own scrubby self as an example, it came down to one thing that beginners should never do when they decide to front. Yes, you don't overcommit, but here's an example of not overcommitting. Hey, Latios, you're my back in this example.
Okay.
How would you feel if I told you this? I'm the front, you're the back. Keep up. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Honestly, it depends. For when we like talk about this in depth, I guess a little later. I guess it would depend on the suit, but for like 90% of situations, that's not a good thing to do.
Because of course, you as the front, a 3K in this example. Let's say I'm a 3K. Latios is running a 2K. I have a lot more boost than you.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
by me saying keep up, that alone tells me I'm going to be that alone sounds like I'm going to be overextending. What the hell are you going to do there, right? You're basically going to be spending the majority of the time catching up and trying to cut for me. How are you supposed to cut for me if you're possibly in green lock all the time, right? But yeah, I just had to bring that. I wanted to just put that one out first and foremost for anybody whoever listens to this and thinks what's one thing you don't want to do as fronting. I don't want to be negative, but I just simply want to say this in a sense of let's save you some frustration. Overextending is bad. It's always bad. It's bad in fighting games. It's bad in MOBAs, and it's an easy, surefire way to get you killed in Gundam Versus, especially if you're playing against, let's say, like isolation specialists. You're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
So when I heard about this this topic through Twitter, so the Twitter post from Lucius, I thought about describing front and back in different terms. Because I think a beginner and then someone who's more like has played the game a lot will see front and back differently. For beginners in particular, you can front and back are just roles that the two suits have throughout the match. You can define them before the match starts, and that's what the vast majority of players do, especially with comms like, hey, I'm going forward or I'm going back. They can be, even if your partner doesn't comm, and those situations happen, you can just basically look at the suits that you have, the bursts that you chose, and then you can decide of who's going to front, who's going to back from there. But also, when the match happens and things are crazy, things are hectic, the roles between a front and a back can switch as well. Because you can get into situations where maybe the front isn't bad for whoever the front may be, but they get overcosted. In that situation, you might have to decide like they need to fall back and you need to go to the front because one hit is going to end the game. So for me, for a beginner, if I was describing front and back to them, I do it in a very rigid sense. Like, hey, the front is usually the 3K because they have more boost, they have more tools and options to be able to handle various situations. And for the vast majority of the time, they're going to be doing the most damage and trying to get the most kills. And as the back, you're trying to make sure to not die so your front doesn't get overcosted. Make sure to stay alive as long as possible, and make sure that you're cutting the opponents, but also make sure that your front or partner also isn't getting cut. And then on suits, and then as like you get better as a player, things get way more fluid. I think as a beginner, keeping it rigid helps a lot.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Definitely, I agree. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
So, with that in mind, since we're keeping it rigid, would you think that there's a specific suit to suggest to someone, or do you still feel pick the suit that you want should still be fine?
So if someone is starting out the game and they're not thinking about it in the competitive or casual sense, I would just say to pick out the suit you think looks cool because that's what I did when I played vanilla back on the PS3. I played a 1K. That was like the very first suit I ever picked. It was Goof Custom because I fucking love Goof Custom. And like I learned the game that way, and I know now, especially knowing what I know now, that was not the best way to learn the game, and you'll get a million of suggestions. So I would say if you're like a casual player, you're just trying to get in there, see who looks cool, see who looks mad dope, and just pick them. If you're trying to get serious with the game and you wanted to learn the game way faster, then you should learn how to front, and you should also learn a 3K first and foremost, because since the 3Ks, the vast majority of them are so well-rounded. From there, after you learn the game with a 3K, then you can figure out and specialize either in the cost or go down a cost and see what you like.
Sounds good to me.
So I know you made a particular comment earlier. So for my play style in particular, I would say I play both styles, but I guess a lot of my suits are geared towards the front aspect. And I know you made a comment earlier about like keeping up and that bad advice or whatever. The one suit in particular, I guess various suits I would change that for things like melee suits. So I play Master. I main them especially for tournaments when for GVS, and I use them a lot in Maxi Boost on as well. So Master, who's a 3K, who's particularly a melee suit, like his front and back dynamic is to me is different than it usually is because one, he has a lot of health, so you're figuring out that you're gonna get hit a lot. It's like playing a grappler in fighting games. Like you know you're gonna get hit a lot, but you want to get in. That's why you have all that health. And two, he can't back like at all. Like he doesn't have any ranged moves. So like even if he gets overcosted and that particular situation happens, and like oh you're supposed to back in this case, he can't really. So for what Master grows for is trying to be as offensive as possible, and the back, like the first and foremost goal of his back, has to be to stay alive as long as possible, so that the Master, who hopefully is good and knows what he's doing, can do and work his thing. So front and back gets a lot more complicated. I mean, once we get to beginners and to intermediate players, once you go into team comps, because then the two definitions of front and back start to change a little bit.
No, that makes sense. Definitely going to be different when you get to more specific suits. Like I think personally that Turn X is not really good in offense, but he does make up for it with a lot of mobility. But I feel that when you have Turn X as the front, or at least maybe I'm just bad. I feel like the back is tasked with a bit more of having to be aggressive and having to do a bit more to create some more opportunities. But I think in general, yeah, I think what you just mentioned is fine. We gotta be a little more rigid at first when you're first fronting. And now, I think another reason too is because, like, I personally think fronting is harder than backing.
That's a pretty good assumption to make. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
The reason being is because you have less to keep track of, as opposed to when you're the front, you have to worry more about getting double locked. You have to be worried more about your angles. You have to put your presence. You have to, make people fear you, to an extent. and also create opportunities sometimes for your back to actually get a punish and things of that nature. But then you also can't get too ahead of yourself. Uh, yeah, it's just hard.
Yeah, I forgot which like top NA player because like I follow most of them and I try to listen to whatever advice they say. I mean, they're the ones that go to tournaments and win, so I mean, they give generally pretty good advice. So they usually say that the front is usually the suit that dictates not only the team but also the match. So if you're trying to get into serious competitive play, you're not playing like shuffle or you're not playing like random Alani. You're actually thinking about team comps and things like that. Like the front is the first suit that you pick, and then the back has to complement that front and like play styles and like what targets they pick during the match and the kind of formations that you go through. Like the front is like the leader. That's why, as a beginner, you probably don't have to worry about that as long as you understand like a front. Like, you're still learning, you're fine. But once you get into higher levels of play, like I wouldn't say you're the team captain is appropriate because like it's only a 2-man team and you're both working together. But you're deciding a lot of decisions that go into what's going on.
Yeah, you're pretty much the one setting everything in motion
You're
and
setting the
can change the momentum.
you may not exactly be the quote unquote leader, but you're definitely setting the pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because if you mess up, is then the back has to adapt to whatever you're doing. So if the plan is working out, you're doing fine. But if you start messing up, then the back has to like, all right, do I have to go in and help him out a lot more? Do I stay back and just like see how this goes? So now you're gonna start putting more pressure on the back to do its thing, and things can get a little wonky. And when we're talking about once it gets talking about like shuffle, I don't think anyone's gonna do shuffle tournaments, even though I would love to do shuffle tournaments. Like that front back dynamic is thrown out the window because you have no idea who your partner's gonna be.
Yep.
You have no idea what the burst is. It gets crazy. Because
Yeah, I think the shuffle trend would probably be really interesting.
if you really want to test people on like their knowledge of like formations and like front and backing, do a shuffle tournament because I see a lot. I think I was in an intermediate room when I was playing during the beta, and a lot of people just happen to be playing 3Ks. And once you put someone in a double 3K team, it's like everything they learned about the game goes out the window. Like they have no idea what to do. Like I would be playing master, and then I see my partner would be like a Quanta or something, and they would go in front. And I'm like, dude, master can't back. What are you doing? Like, you need to back, and I will front, and then we will make this happen. But it's just like they're so used to the 3K being only a front, they don't know how to adapt.
Yep. And it's that role reversal that kind of makes it a little bit interesting.
Likes to play EXS.
Yeah. That's actually practically the main reason why I play EXS, because no matter what situation happens, I'm always playing the back roll, regardless of the cost. So you can pretty much just mimic that meme of Shining Gundam going forward. Even with like lower costs, I would still let that happen.
Go get him, chimp.
Go get him, chimp.
Yeah, you have those weird 3Ks that are like mainly long range back suits, and like EXS would be a big one. I was gonna say Hyrule to a certain extent, but I think that suit can like front pretty well. But even then, he's pretty much a long range suit, in which like they're kind of the back, and then their 2.5 or even their 2K has to front, and that brings a whole nother set of challenges.
And also Zabanya as well.
Sometimes I feel like Turn X can kind of back to an extent. It's kind of weird. But then again, Turn X in general is just really, really strange.
Well, to me, the vast majority of 3K suits, since they're so well-rounded, can front and back. You only get to the weird parts when you're trying to talk about like the melee suits, like Epion the Master, or like the back range suits, like EXS. But for the most part, the 3Ks are so well-rounded that they can do both, and that's why most people should learn how to do both. You can't just be a front and be like, all right, I learned the game, I can be aggressive and like dictate the match. Like, no, you also have to learn how to use your strike freedom or your destiny and how to be a front with and how to be a back with that suit. Because they have back capabilities.
Yep. And I think it's at the end of the day, you're gonna have to learn the kit of every single suit, front and back, and see how much you can adapt to certain situations. Because if you're dealing with like a rigid situation where, say, for example, your Epion and your overcost, so you're pretty much at low health the next time you spawn. Sometimes you could use means to play a little bit more defensively, just allow the back to kind of help recoup and see some opportunities that can intervene, as well as change the momentum or even kill the momentum outright. So just learning those things.
Yeah, gets overconstant. I feel like the match is kind of screwed at that point.
Yeah, but even then, you have to learn how to survive in those kind of situations, just in case the worst case scenario happens.
Yeah, like you say that'd be on a screw, which is true. But I've gotten in situations where I've been overcosted with master, and I still won the match. It's
Yep.
just like
Well,
if something happens, like all right, I got to figure this out. Like I gotta make it happen somehow. You can't just give up that way.
no, that's a fair point because even if you are overcosted and you're at the point where one good hit is probably death, you still have a crap load of boost, and if you're focusing on evasion and you have that greedy 2K kind of coming after you, you can just take your time and just evade everything anyway.
Yeah, I've had that exact situation happen with Master. Like people get overzealous, and I fought like 2Ks or 2.5s to try to chase me around. I'm like, all right, dude, do whatever you want. I'll just wait till you run out of boost, and they'll kill you. And that's the end of that.
Yep, just whip them away or just punish their bad approach. Just make them regret it. Because target prioritization is definitely one of the most important things next to movement in actuality, in my opinion.
Yeah, so when we're talking about like rigidness to like beginners, and then when it gets more fluid, like for a beginner, I would say similar to like if you play sports, like something like basketball or soccer. Like I mean, I played soccer in high school, but like a common thing you would hear is like stick to your man. So if you're a beginner player, you're fighting a 3K, or you're playing as a 3K, you should be fighting the 3K. Like that, like he is your target. You need to make sure he is taken care of. He is taken down for multiple reasons. One, since you're both 3Ks, you both are at an equal footing. You got the similar amount of boost, similar amounts of HP, things like that. So you're better suited to fight them. And also, two, the 3K can also fight your partner way better than than you can. So it can get very hectic if you let the 3K just like run away and fight your partner, because now you have to play catch up and chase after them while they're just dealing and messing up your partner up.
Mm-hmm.
Once things get more more fluid and rigid and at higher levels, I'd find situations where I'd have to get rid of the back because they're annoying me so much. Like they have to get rid of them first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, but
Thing,
go for it.
I think another thing too that people don't realize as the front is don't abandon your back. Your back should be looking to cut for you, but that doesn't mean you can't cut for them either.
So I take a lot of advice from Brett because I watch his streams a lot. And he's like, I'd say he's a pretty well-known Gundam player and streamer in general. And he would always say like, and a lot of Japanese players say this too, like the most underused item in all of Gundam is the radar on the top right. Because a lot of people just kind of like, especially if you're still learning the game or even at an intermediate level, because I've done this many times, you kind of just go and fight and do your thing, and then like a couple seconds later, your back is suddenly fighting both of your enemy suits, and you're all the way at the other side of the map, and you're like, wait, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
It happened because you weren't paying attention.
Yep.
Yep, your greatest weapon is your eyes.
That's exactly what happened.
So it's always a good idea, I think, especially as a front, to just like look at your radar and like know where your partner is at all times, and like kind of make sure, okay, they're doing all right, they're not getting pressured, they're handling themselves. Okay, good. Now I can do my thing. If not, then make sure you two are close together and do whatever you need to do. But
Look at the screen.
Look at the screen and stop tunneling.
Yep.
oh yeah, tunnel vision it can happen a lot, especially when I get angry. I've gotten that many times.
And what about moments where you have like a friend that's going in frenzy mode, just going after any single target that just even comes close to them?
I don't think that's a bad idea because I think that's way more common in melee suits because you just kind of hit anyone who's close to you because of your range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not really a bad way to play, but it just still you just need to make sure of your awareness and of what's going on. Since you're dictating the match anyway, and as a melee suit, and those are the suits I play the most, you want to get as much damage in as possible. So I wouldn't haphazardly target people. I would just target the biggest threats first, and that takes a while to understand what a threat is and threat management and who's bothering you the most and when to lay back and things like that. So
Yeah.
that'll take a while to learn, but generally, as I said before, like a 3K should be fighting a 3K, and the back should be doing whatever they need to do depending on the team comp.
Okay.
Good to me.
I was gonna ask what 3Ks. As we're talking about fronts, and I want to stick to 3Ks for now. What fronts do you guys play, and like what are your experiences with those suits?
My 3Ks are Turn X and Quanta. Those are my main 3Ks. The Quanta, I feel like I have to relearn the suit because I haven't played that suit in so long. So I'm kind of got to relearn that suit a little bit. I do I Now that I really think about it, I don't really care what back people use when I play Quantum, or at least in full boost, I didn't care. I'm just like, hey, I have use a Banya assist, go in. That was usually my prerogative. But with Turn X, it was definitely a different story because Turn X has a lot of movement options, but ultimately, I don't feel it's as intimidating as other fronts when it comes to doing things, especially in full boost because the Bloody Siege move, which is 5 or 4 6 AC, that one would really limit your mobility when you do it, and it took forever to start up in full boost. And now in Mbon and in G versus they made it faster, so now you can actually use it. But even then, it still prevents you from boost dashing. Um, so with that suit, I definitely do feel that I would appreciate a more aggressive back with turn X for sure. I definitely want a more aggressive back.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
someone in the chat said that player skill is also a factor that should be taken into account when assessing threats. Very true. But I think that matters the most at like lower intermediate levels. That's not really something I think of. I mean, that's something you should be thinking about. But like at high levels, that kind of disappears because you expect both of them to be good. But at lower levels and then like lower level tournaments, you could definitely take advantage of the fact if you know like the back is just like fumbling and messing up all the time. Like, all right, let me take advantage of this and get him out the way.
Yeah.
Or just bully them.
Yeah, that too. Just usually
Like
just
I had a match last week when where my partner was just getting completely mauled. The Bale realized it immediately that the
Oh
enemy
yeah.
Bale realized it
yeah.
immediately that my partner was just did not know what to do against Bale. And I'm on Buster, so I'm like, okay, cool, here, hold this Garobi. And then the Bale just did not care that I was landing my beams because he knew that I still had to deal with his partner, and he would just keep mauling my partner, and it didn't matter. He basically won the damage range because I just couldn't beam the guy and get him off of him enough times. He's just derp, 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 and just do the little swerve thing and just beat the crap out of my partner. But
Yep.
yeah, that's definitely one thing. That's one thing people got to notice. If you notice a person doesn't know what they're doing, then just yeet them up. Just yeet them up the stream for an easy win.
Yeah, if it keeps working, don't stop doing it. That'll get lesser at higher levels, but I don't think the vast majority of NA is there yet. I know there we have a decent amount of good players, but I think the majority of the community is around the intermediate level. So not everyone knows their matchups yet. So there might be a time where you get faced with someone and they actually don't know what the fuck your suit does. And I've had that happen to me when we were talking about Air Master and Victory. It was like, how is this 2K beating me? Because I have no idea what that suit did, and he took advantage of that. And it sucks, but it's for you just gotta learn for next time.
Yep. As for me, that's actually a good question considering I play 3Ks very oddly, aside from EXS. But I guess the most aggressive 3K that I've used so far, huh. Honestly, I in Max Boost I would probably say yeah. No. Wait. Let me think.
Oh, I mean, I also want to bring up there are people that like once they learn the game enough, they choose not to front at all. They just want to stay to being a back or playing low cost suits. So I also wanted to bring that up, but it's just good to learn both and understand both positions. But there are
Why
people
is
that
that?
like stick to just being backs.
Yeah.
Why do you why do you feel people do that?
I mean, it's just play style. I mean, back could be just seen as like a support style, and and there are certain suits that are just geared towards that style of just being a back. And I know for me, especially as a beginner, or just someone who likes Gundam, sort of like the anime and stuff in general. Like I had a lot of suits I liked that were just lower costs, so I just naturally went to the back position because that was the position the suit went to. So depending on like either your play style or maybe the suits that you actually like, that'll probably dictate what position you're gonna play.
Hmm. God damn, I just
Mm,
really can't think of like a
I'm not sure.
3K that
Because
I've
I mean,
used.
now that I think about it, when I play Quanta, I guess I'm not as scared about getting overcosted because I do have that little heal to go into the second form, and then I can even if I get overcosted, then I can still get that other heal off. So that kind of gives me a little more breathing room and a little more time to get my burst out, but so I can spam a couple of more assists and clutch out a win. But
It's
no, now that you mention it, yeah, I don't really think about it. I haven't really Yeah, I guess I do need to play front more now that you mentioned it that way.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's good. It's good to just play in like shuffle or random rooms. It's just so you can understand under position of the match. I wouldn't. I don't know if I was in a sport or some kind of other team game. I would have people at least try every position just so they understand how that feels and how that looks. So then and it makes you understand your own position a lot better. Like I definitely started off as a mostly back player, especially during like vanilla and full boost. Like I said, a lot of my favorite suits were just lower costs. I didn't really play a front until Gundam Versus, and then when I went to the tournament at iFix, rest in peace iFix, and I played Master as a suit in that tournament, and like I was actually learning a front for the first time in a serious level, and I was like, oh, this is very different, and I felt way more stressed than I did when I played a back, and but also because I knew how to play a back, I also knew how to back off as a Master. Even though I couldn't attack or do anything else, I knew when I needed to like end my combo quickly or run away, stay back, do my thing, etc., etc. So even just learning a front suit or 3K casually and just learning that position, it'll help a lot.
That's actually one thing I did realize that I learned pretty quick, that I did catch on pretty quickly, was not to be greedy. I guess you can kind of not have to worry about that so much with Quanta because his melee combos are not as easy to cut. But if anything, if I would do a normal combo and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm probably about to get cut, then I'm just gonna finish it with the little flip downswing kind of thing and just get it out of the way and get out of there.
yeah,
Or if I'm using turn X, I'll have if I land the bloody siege that does the melee follow up, then I can basically not worry about it because I'm still landing that melee combo, and I can just look at the other opponent and just keep moving around and stepping out of things if I have to. So I guess the suits that I use kind of don't really have to worry about that so much. But that's a good point. That can still develop bad habits.
Yeah, I think that's a good hurdle that most people. That's probably one of the biggest hurdles beginners will get over with, and intermediates have it sometimes. It's just like to understand to get the knockdown as soon as possible. Like, I know you want damage, I know you got to do your thing, but if like someone's about to cut you or damage you, or if your partner's in trouble, you need to learn just to end whatever you're doing quickly and do whatever else you need to do. Or also, I also like, as particularly as master, just like getting the knockdown, just so I can set up something afterwards or do some Oki afterwards as well. Because he has a lot of long combos, but he also has a lot of short combos that like hit a knockdown. All right, move around, do my thing, get him confused, and boom, do it again, and so stuff like that. So that's just one of the hurdles players will have to learn.
That's
yeah.
actually something else I do like about using turn X also, where if let's say we're in close range with the opponent and I got a knockdown, if I landed the let's say I just landed just a melee knockdown or something, or got a BR into bazooka, even if I'm pretty far away, I can throw my bloody siege out and provide some funnel support with the turn X while I'm trying to get in range. So that's one thing that I really kind of learned to appreciate. If I can just get a quick knockdown, then that means I can turn around real quick and do something to alleviate pressure from my partner. So that's actually something I kind of learned. Like, yeah, sure, you gotta get your full punishes here and there, but those full punishes take a lot of time for certain suits, and it's just better to just, okay, cool, get the knockdown, do something. So it's like if I'm using another thing. One thing that happened in one particular match for me was I had switched out the bazooka for the Garobi on turn X. So I was using my bloody siege as in a defensive fashion. The opponent kind of came in for a melee, so just popped him over, and if I do just I didn't do the melee follow up, so the limbs hit him and popped him up, and then the limbs go and shoot him and throw him up in the air. So while that's happening, I just went and bursted to get my boost back, and then just turned around, went to go help my partner, and Garobi the other guys to cut for him. But yeah, I think that's another thing people do need to realize, that you gotta assess what you can do and don't leave your partner hanging.
I think another very important thing. I think this is more important for the front than it is for the back. But like I said, you're probably learning both positions anyway. Is learning your burst, when to use it, and like just proper usage of it. I thought about this when like I watch a ton of match videos of Gundam. It's like all I do. It's like I'm obsessed with this game. And you'll learn very quickly that like the vast majority of fronts, almost all of them honestly, don't use extend burst, and I think that's on purpose. Because as a front, since you're the one dictating the match anyway, and you're the one doing the most damage, like you need to take heavy advantage of your burst. It's an extremely useful tool, and like extend burst, while very powerful, it doesn't really do what you need to do since you're the aggressor anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this now then. If you're the front, you should be using a specialized burst unless the suit just doesn't get any true benefit out of it. You should be using shooting or fighting. I think if you're a front and you use extend burst, you're being weak and you're basically saying you don't trust your partner and you don't trust yourself. I think as you're a beginner, I think extend is perfectly fine,
Yeah.
but you should definitely grow out of it and get away from that being a clutch because just like you mentioned, bursting is really powerful. I don't look at burst as I think burst now more than anything else is a playmaker and you should be aiming to half burst anyway. So you having that ability to force an opponent into a mistake. If you force them to burst defensively, I feel like that in itself is a victory because you force them to use a burst to save themselves as opposed to, let's say, they use their burst, right, to save themselves.
Right.
I can just back off right there if I want to. If I have enough boosters as a VK, I'm like, okay, cool, you bursted, thanks. What are you gonna do about it now? And then you could just back off and play defensively. Okay, cool, you wasted your burst, thanks. And or if let's say for example you're forcing them to burst, but you still want to get that kill, you can do it. They're bursting defensively to save themselves. You're bursting to push your advantage. Even if they bursted to save themselves and you burst too, you're still on the you're both still in the same exact situation. That means you're still the aggressor in that situation. So extend's not going to do anything.
No.
You going into shooting burst, for example, if they bursted defensively, even better. If they bursted defensively as it would extend, that's even better because they're basically losing the main point of extend, which is to save, which is in my opinion just getting the pop out to pop out of a combo. Now they just wasted their extend burst. It doesn't last as long as shooting, and I'm just pew 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 pew. You're gonna die, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, and for bursts in particular, you can use shooting and fighting bursts in defensive ways that maybe a lot of beginners probably wouldn't understand because since it refills your boost, that's extremely helpful because you can bait someone into thinking you're about to run out of boost. They're going to attack or do whatever they need to do. I burst, I run away, and then I do whatever I need to do from there. Um, and also, I think I lost my point there. Goddamn it. I'm trying to think of what I was going to say next. It'll come back.
I think there are some applications for extend for certain 3Ks like Harut. Harut definitely doesn't have a whole lot of benefits in its burst, so having that escape measure is ideal. But and also, even when it's in my root form, you still need that escape measure just to help get away from the situation, do a bit of flying around, throwing out CSBs, and harass the enemies. And if you still have your missiles, you might be able to get the most out of it as well. Though when it comes
I
to
mean, there's
like
gonna
the
be. I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
I just remembered what I was gonna say. Um, in a very weird and ironic way, that actually benefits beginners. The front is the person that wants to die first anyway. Like you want to survive and dodge and weave and do whatever you need to do to stay at high health, but at the end of the day, you don't want to get overcosted. So there may be times where you have to like quote unquote force to death or play way more risky just so you can get a death out there, and so you don't get overcosted later. I think extend also doesn't help with that since it's so defensive and it gets you out of situations.
yeah,
I feel that's kind of the problem I have with Turn X because Turn X has so many movement and evasive options that a lot of times I feel like my opponent is just like, okay, I can't hit this guy. I'm just gonna double luck his opponent now, and the next thing you know, I get overcaused and screwed. So that's kind of something where I do feel like I have a bit of trouble with Turn X actually, where I'm mostly just being evasive, but then what's that really doing? Because I'm still not putting out enough damage.
yeah,
Well, yeah, that's just something that you learn over time because as a front, you have to be evasive, but you also have to be annoying because once you start getting too passive, the opponent is going to respond. But yeah, by just going for your back or just double locking them, and that's kind of be the end of the day. Then you get overcosted, take advantage of it, and the rest is history. So yeah, there's a point where being too evasive and too defensive isn't going to help you because this is a game. And also another Brett thing that I learned from him. This is a game where you have to force things to happen. You have to force situations. You can't be passive. We don't really play with infinite timers around here, so that's not something you can really do. You have to kind of get in, get hurt, and make sure they're like if you take damage, you took damage for a reason, and trying to force those things to happen.
At the end of the day, it is a damage race.
Yep. Juggalactus, how can you body me consistently? Just stay close to me as much as you can, because I am not good at close quarters combat. Only with certain suits. But I guess the real thing is just pay attention to what I do wrong. There are some mistakes that I do make every now and then, even as like a 3K. There are some fundamental mistakes that I do make sometimes as out of a bad habit that I still can't really let go of, which is just me trying to be unorthodox. But most importantly, is just watching how someone makes their mistakes out in the open. Because there are times where I do cover myself in riskier ways than normal. So it's just pretty much being aware of the behavior of what I do.
So I'm reading chat right now. I'm seeing some people saying bursts on certain characters. Extend burst isn't like terrible on front or 3Ks. It's just not something that you generally see a lot. And I watch a ton of batch videos and I play against a ton of people. It can definitely throw someone off. Like if I fight a front and they suddenly use extend, I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck? Like I would get thrown off. But I guess it depends on higher levels of play and when you're implementing different strategies on whether to use extend. But for the most part, from my experience, and also for me just watching videos and high level players, a front generally the character that wants to make things happen is going to use an offensive burst. But extend again isn't a terrible choice. I'm not saying to knock it out entirely, but for the most part, I think the shooting and the fighting burst is just a better option.
Mm-hmm. I guess it probably does translate to like lower cost front suits too. Like most of the G Gundam suits, you would much rather benefit from using fighting gear for the most part.
Yeah, I think it depends. Yeah, I see people saying Bale with extend. I can definitely see that working very well because Bale's kit and damage is already really good. So yeah, fighting burst helps Bale a lot, but extend also as well. He'll do fine with it. Me as a master player, like I can't see myself ever using extend because fighting burst on master is so vital because he becomes a monster of destruction when he's in fighting burst. Like I can't imagine playing that suit without fighting burst because he needs it.
Officer, this dude just said gear.
GVS never leaves us, no matter how much we try to forget it.
Mm-hmm.
The bastard child.
EX versus Force. That's one thing we can say. At least it's not EX versus Force.
That's for sure.
When players fly in the sky.
Juggalactus. It depends. Think about what's going on. If the opponent is staying in the air for a very long time, it sounds to me like they're gonna be overheating and landing hard. Sounds like a full punish to me.
Yeah, he's saying I can be a sensei. I don't know if I can do that, but I can post videos in chat of examples of what I think a really good master player is. I don't think he's that hard to play, honestly, but for him, fundamentals you have to have good fundamentals when you're playing any melee suit because you don't have the tools everyone else has, and all your damage comes from melee combos and attacks. So in that sense, he's hard to play, but the actual suit itself, he's pretty simple and straightforward. So I think I'm going to dump like 1 or 2 videos in chat so you can kind of see what I mean.
Shoot away.
But yeah, I think Master is really fun, and I think in this version in particular, he's not bad either. Like once you learn the game, like I've never felt outclassed by any other like suit. Like I held my own pretty well. I think he's a really fun suit to play. Trying to find these damn videos. I have them saved somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. In this game, there's no paralysis, so you can pretty much stall in the air.
They hopefully you're trusting their partner completely, or oh no, yeah, forgot. In M-Bond, you can stall more. I was thinking about Gundam Versus, where once you overheat, you can only do like one thing, and then you just fall like a rock.
Yep, the paralysis system.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that system so much because it not only restricted you, but
I thought that was a bad thing that they put in G Versus. But isn't there like a cap of movements that you can do in M-Bond?
No. You can pretty much stall as much as you want, depending on the
Yeah,
kind of
there.
mobility that you have.
I'm thinking of some suits in my head right now. You can, if you know what you're doing, you can pretty much stay in the air forever. Like Avalanche Exia can actually do it, and also Brave Flag. If you use the CSA properly, like you can just stay in the air for as long as you want without boost.
Hmm.
It's kind of insane.
Yeah, I think I've seen like Brave
Mm.
Commanders stall in the air. I think it was Harry K. Hunt's Brave Commander that was I played against yesterday in not yesterday. What the heck am I saying? Saturday. He used that stall tactic pretty damn well.
It's a 25-second limit in M-bomb. Ah, okay. Interesting.
Hey, Coffee.
I do think I have to learn how to be more aggressive with the suit. That'll come with.
Yeah, I think I need to learn how to be more aggressive in general, especially in CQC.
Yeah, so I just posted 2 videos in chat because I think I follow maybe 30, 40 like Gundam channels. I'm like that obsessed. So these are like the best examples of a master player and also a team comp for a master player, I think as well. Because one of these videos, it's shoot, I don't know the name of that green suit. Is it the green sniper suit from Double O? I don't
Oh,
remember
it's
the name of it.
Cheridum?
Cheradyme and
Sheridan.
yeah, Cheradyme is the 2.5,
Yes,
and
the
then
2.5
Yeah,
because
I
that
mean,
suit in particular has a shield move.
yeah, the
And if you put
shield
the
bits.
shield on Master and he's in burst, he can actually do whatever the fuck he wants. And it's like the one of those videos shows that, and I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. So yeah, I think those 2 videos are just a good example of what a Master does, and it's a pretty straightforward suit.
Mm-hmm.
blue shift video on screen.
Alrighty, let me put the first one up.
Wait, let me see which. I think it's the first link I posted. Let me see.
I keep forgetting the name of the 2K. It's my mind.
Oh, the Dynamis.
Yeah, there you go. Dynams. It's a Dynamemes, Cheradyme, and Zamania.
Yeah. It's the first link I posted. You see the Master and the green suit, this team comp, and just see what they're doing.
Alright, let me also pull up this second one. So you're gonna see a lot of Master trying to take a lot of risks, throwing out the whips here and there.
So this like front style for Master, you're gonna see he's always being aggressive. Like because of his kit and what he's doing, he can't stay back. That's not what he does. So he's taking a lot of damage here because he has to. So he's not really concerned with taking damage. He's just real concerned getting his assists out, getting those hits in, getting those combos. Yep, I love that move, the ribbon. They cannot escape. So you see, he's constantly attacking, always being aggressive, and not really caring about his HP.
Yeah, he's aggressive as hell.
Yep. And here comes the party.
Yep, there it is. He can't do anything once he has a shield up. He can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, Psycho Zaku's kind of screwed there.
But yeah, with Master in particular, with your back, you also have to trust them to make sure that they're one, know what they're doing, especially, and two, that they don't die. I think the first goal of a back for a Master player is that they cannot die. Because if Master gets overcosted, like we said, with a melee suit, like you're just in trouble. It just gets way harder from there.
Yep, so it's all about faith, it's all about trusting your instincts, and most importantly,
Okay, Peppy.
just being able to get in that ass.
Yeah,
as
I say
fast as
trust
possible.
especially because a weakness this team has is because Master is in a long reach suit. So if the back is in trouble, you're gonna have to like wait quite a while for me to catch up to you and try to save you. So that's why like the back needs to be on point with what they're doing. That's just a really big weakness with this team.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I see those Chinese symbols, whenever he has a win pose, it's like you've been judged, and then the red text come out, you suck.
Yep.
Yeah,
No,
this entire video is just the team like wrecking shit. It's like, I love this video so much. But yeah, this is just an example of what a melee front would do. So like you can follow a bit of what this suit is doing with stuff like Bale and Epion, even though they would have slightly different playstyles. Bale especially can be way more mid-range than Master because he has a bit more, he has easier tools. But
Is that a Reborns? Yeah, the Reborns in GP.
Yep, doesn't Keradim have some decent tools to deal with CQC encounters? Its B is really nice because it has a good amount of hit stun.
He's got dual pistols.
And he also has a melee counter too.
But
Yeah,
they're not as good as Strike Nor, of course.
No.
I'm not the back definitely has tools to protect themselves, but even then, like there's gonna be a certain point where they're gonna get overwhelmed or double locked or something. So just also, in those situations where that happens, like the Master can't do much.
Jesus
That's why
Christ.
Yeah, this Master is a problem. He's really good.
And Keradim also has its AC.
Did you just take like half health off that GP03?
Yes.
You actually see the Master changing targets twice now. Like he was going for the GP03 for most of the match, and now he's on the Reborns. It's like because of being a melee, so you kind of have to fight whoever is closest to you and whoever's being the threat. And you see his partner's doing a really good job of staying alive. They're trying to kill him, and they can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the Master's just like trying to get those hits in.
Yep.
I like how the Reborns immediately upon knocking him down, you saw what he did. Like he immediately, once he got the knockdown on Master, he turned around immediately to go help his partner. That's good stuff.
Oh.
Look, I'm telling you, fighting burst with Master, he needs it. It's so good for him.
And you notice that he used a half burst too.
Burst is a big speed boost, right?
Yeah, it gives him a ginormous speed boost. That's the most important part for me. Like it makes him insane.
Now, when it comes to fronting, what would you say would be the appropriate burst usage?
What do you mean by that?
Like, for example, the Master just used burst at half. Should they keep using it at half, or will there ever be a situation where they can use it at full?
I mean, you should. You can go first.
I think the only time I feel like ever since I kind of got a little better at the game and a little less trash, I feel like if you're gonna full bursting to me now feels like if you got mauled early on your first life and you didn't get a chance to do anything, then you may as well save it for a full burst. Otherwise, I feel like more often than not, you should be looking for a half burst to force a situation and force a kill.
Yeah, even if I'm on my first life and I'm playing Master because we're on this video, and I have burst, if there's a situation where I can kind of like use it defensively and to stay alive a little longer, or even get the advantage, if the burst can get me to kill, like I'll use it. Or if the burst can just keep me alive, I'll use it. Like generally, you should be using it at half whenever possible. But you also shouldn't be wasting it. You shouldn't force yourself to use it at half if you're about to die or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I also didn't know if you caught that, but the kicking assist that Master has beam guard. Not too many people know that.
What? The Seventh Heaven Sword assist actually has. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was there for a little bit, but yeah, not too many people know that it has beam guard.
Oh,
I have a feeling we're gonna end, whenever we talk about Master, we're gonna have to re-invite Latios.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that.
In fact, I think we got our guy for that.
Yeah, I think this might be our impromptu episode. Actually,
I think when it comes to bursting, though, I always feel like every time I want to half burst, I always feel like I have to use it. I have to use it to make a play. That's what always comes to mind for me. It's like you have to make a play, and if you can't, then I mean they may as well hold on to it.
Yeah, Chex was saying right there. You can also use burst in response to a burst. That was happening in the video.
Yeah, it levels the playing field.
Me too.
Well, yeah, it helps defensively because like the scariest part of the burst is they get all their boosts back. And like that to me is like one of the scariest parts. So now they can just keep being aggressive or to keep running away. So a burst in response to a burst it can generally be a good idea.
I think bursting defensively is also not a bad idea. Now that I think about it, I guess it's not a bad idea to burst defensively if you, let's say you're the 3K and your partner just got killed, so you already know you're gonna get overcosted. But if you're still moderately healthy, I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. overcost. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, there's no cost left.
And has half burst
Ooh,
ready
nice
just
towel.
for the kill.
Yeah, like this match is already over. Master has burst. He's yep, right there. He just went away right there.
Yeah, I was just waiting for the burst. Oh, yeah, he's dead.
And the Cherubim's running away, kiting the
Oh,
Z.
yeah, he has to save his partner. Look.
Ooh!
Burst.
Got him!
Nice towel. That was a good towel.
Oh, I love that.
That was a good towel.
Yep.
But yeah, in that situation, you saw his partner was almost as he was dealing with the other back. Like he has to do so much work to help and save his partner. So it's really important that his partner is like knows how to fight by himself and stick around. Also, he switches a back here. The team comp is still similar because this back also has a shield type move. So they're still keeping the general idea of like have the master be a front and have a shield type move for whenever he gets burst and like let him do his thing. So they're still keeping the same general strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
So just backs that can give him shield basically are just really good for melee suits or for master in particular.
Yeah, but pretty much invalidates the enemy's offense.
This is just really just pressuring him hard right now. Got him into the corner. But
Yep,
then he
here we
had
go.
to back up
Party
and
time.
John came in to get on him. Oh wait, that suit has like a shield thing too.
Yes, that's why that's the general theme of this comp. Just like have a master in the front, have a back that has a shield move, so the master can take advantage of it.
What
Mhm.
suit is that?
Excelia.
The one from G Reco?
No, it's
G Reco, right?
no,
Or
it's
from
a
FA1?
EXA.
That's wait. Oh, okay. I know what it is. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's the one used by Seshia.
Look, you see the speed of him in burst? That's absolutely insane. Like the DX couldn't do anything.
Nope, can't run away.
It's the Extreme Gundam type waifu. There we go. Thanks,
There we
Jets.
go.
That makes it easier for me. Extreme Gundam type waifu.
She's cute and ugly. My kind of woman.
The Gundam EXA, that's like a manga, isn't it?
Yes, but there hasn't really been a lot of scans online, so it's kind of hard to keep track of it.
Nobody likes mecha.
If you want to
Mecha's
drop
dead.
another video so we can just kind of see another like fronting style, because this melee style is only applicable to like 3 or so suits. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna post another video in the chat. This one is for DX. This is another suit I play and I like a lot. It's really easy to play and it's also really strong. So if beginners are just kind of looking for another suit to play, and like want a good suit, a DX is really good.
Oh yeah, I know a few people that might be more than happy to play DX outside of using it to just garrow people to death.
Isn't that its only purpose in life?
It dispenses beams. What else can you do? Your life is nothing.
So
That's pretty much what it is.
So for this kind of like fronting style, DX is kind of a mix. I would say suit because he has decent melee options, but that's not really the reason to use the suit. He is long range all the time, and a special thing about the suit is his mobile armor mode. They're going to see a lot because of those missiles that he has that have really good tracking. The reload time is really short, and it does really good damage. You're going to see him in that mobile armor mode a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that he's used it like at least like 5 times already. Holy crap!
Yeah, it's a really good mode.
Did that get buffed or something?
No, it's been like that for a while.
Yeah, I don't think it's changed much outside of the tracking aggression of the missiles, but it's still pretty strong.
Yeah, homeboy spamming that stuff. Serious.
Yep, I think he's
But
using.
yeah, but you see a difference to like the master. While this DX is still aggressive, you see like he's shooting and he's going away. Like he's not going towards them. So he's still trying to keep his distance and trying to stay close to his back while doing as much damage as he can from far away. And if he needs to, he'll go up. Like right now, he killed the Quanta. Now he's moving up to do melee. But now Quanta's back. Now he's moving back. So you can just like
that's
kind of
7 sword.
change.
Yeah, I've noticed that he's doing pretty decent about.
Oh, this isn't Quanta. This is 7 sword. My bad.
Seven sword. Close enough. They all look the same.
Every set in the suit looks the same.
Goddamn sets in the suits. Oh god, big beam.
So it didn't work properly there, but you can actually use for Jorobis that have like an explosion effect. They can work for Oki, not all the time. So it's not something you should spam. But if you're able to time the wake up to you using the Jirobi, they actually get hit on wake up.
You can't block it.
No, it's unblockable. But you have to time it really well.
So it's hard to blockable.
It's no. I guess I've just never seen anyone block it. It might be blockable, but I've just never seen anyone block it whenever I time it perfectly.
Don't you have some invincibility, like when you get knocked down? Like
you do, but because of the explosion effect is so large, the invincibility effect goes away by the time you're even able to get out of it.
Okay.
Somewhere in an hour-long video, he probably does it. I'm not really sure when, but with certain Jirobis with that explosion effect, you can use them for wake-ups.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, this guy's really spamming those missiles. Holy crap!
It's just that good.
and the best part about it is that Double X has a fast fall too whenever he uses the G bits, so it makes him even more nimble.
What are the G bits?
Those 2 drones that stand beside him whenever he summons them. I think it should come up relatively soon. But basically, the way that they work is whenever you have the G-bits out, whenever you use BC again, you can fall fast in the air. So you'll see him use it just as a means of pressure, but also just as a means to also get away from certain situations where he might be veneering.
He's finally got hit.
Yep. Also, what's good, Cross?
You see him. He's a front, but almost he never gets hit because he's really good at just managing his space.
Boom.
So there are ways of like using a long range suit, or I would say a more mixed suit like DX, who's aggressive but also has a lot of long range item, like a long range kit that you can like be aggressive but still like know when to not overextend, not to get in too much and things like that. So the vast majority of 3Ks are kind of like DX. I mean, he uses shooting burst, but you know.
Yeah, he's a general purpose unit.
Pew, 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 pew.
For lack of better words.
Hey there, Zero's Heart. How you doing?
Yeah, I learn a lot. Personally, for me, I learn a lot from just watching videos, and like there's so much since Maxi Boost in a very weird way. We're getting a very old version of the game. Japan has been playing this for a very long time, so there's so much footage out there, and it's all relatively organized. So even if you don't know what the channels are, if you just like everyone basically tags their videos as MBO N with the brackets, and you can pretty much find channels and videos and recommendations on all these videos of just people playing this game. And that to me, that helps me a lot, because when I see someone play this game properly and how it's meant to be played, I'm not there at that level, but I know it generally tells me how I'm supposed to be playing like a suit or a comp or a style, etc.
Yeah, oh, there's EXS.
There seems to be mostly content for pretty much every suit too, from what I can.
Yeah.
You see a lot of like Gundam quote unquote content creators in Japan. They try to like play every suit, or at least the most popular ones, and you can generally find information on most suits. I think there are some suits that have no videos at all, if they're like super weak or just not interesting. But at that point, your fundamentals should be fine. But for more complex suits or popular suits, you should be able to find videos on them.
Yep, I'm doing pretty good.
There was for Full Boost, there was a guy on Nico Nico Doga who had like this gigantic video on Exia, and like their entire channel was just nothing but Exia. And then I remember there was another video I saw where this person really focused on heavy arms.
Yeah, there are a lot of YouTubers like that they're like, one suit is my shit. I'm gonna learn this suit. I'm gonna make videos about this suit, because like, I mean, you have ranks at least in the arcade version, we're getting them too, of like master and like gold 15 and things like that, and that's like a badge of honor. I think that's really cool. So some people want to reach that level. I'm still thinking about what suit I want to master when the game comes out. I don't know who yet, but that's gonna be a goal of mine for sure.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty great. Cross.
Doing all right, just having fun talking about Gundam.
Yeah, we're just pretty much shooting shit at this point.
At the same time, being sad because we have to wait for the beta again.
Yep. When will Friday come around? Let me in!
It's very weird that the game is, even from the first beta, the game felt perfectly done, but they just haven't released it.
Yeah.
It would have been the perfect time, too, with everything going on, everyone at home, but I guess they just missed that window.
Yeah, either that or they weren't really expecting the whole Corona situation didn't
Right.
explode the way it did. How many?
I know Chex knows the answer to that. I don't remember how many matches you need for a gold 15.
I think it was
I know it's a lot.
3,000 matches. I think. I could be wrong, but yeah,
I know Chex knows the answer to that. I do not remember.
And he plans on doing that with G Self.
How many matches to get a suit to gold 15? How many?
I think it is 3,000, but Chex will probably give a better answer.
So gold 15 is that the stars?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you see on the bottom left of the UI under the health, you see like a silver plaque and the stars. So every suit that you use has a ranking of just like your mastery of the suit. I mean, League has this as well, just like character mastery of how long and how you played that suit. And there are 5 levels, so there's bronze, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, silver, and gold. So it's just there for like cosmetic purposes, but also when you get to gold 15 or certain levels, you also get a special UI for your suit as well. So it's there for just like it's there for bragging purposes, but also you get a UI out of it. So
that's pretty cool. I want one.
Gonna have to work hard for it.
Yeah, you have to dedicate yourself to a single suit. And I know, I think it's crazy when I see match videos and there are channels of players that have multiple suits at master level, and that's insanity to me. Like they must play that game every single day.
That's like thousands of dollars already over the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
multiple suits at master level.
Crazy. Yeah, when you think about it that way, that's a lot of matches. That's a lot of cash they had to put into the game.
Yep. And even if they did compete in like Premium Dogfight or any other tournaments, that's still like a hefty record right then and there. And I wonder if you could actually get these stars outside of having to well, let me just gather my thoughts here real quick, because it's something that's gonna bother me quite a bit. But since there's ways in like the player lobbies where you can make sure that you don't get any stats from the player lobbies themselves, I'm just wondering if it's just counting the matches in general instead of the amount of ranked matches or player matches you played. I just hope it might be just universal rather than just a contained event.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out when the game comes out. It might just be ranked. I mean, I don't know how it works in arcades, but I mean, yeah, they would have a casual mode, so I don't know. Is it the rankings are just based on matches, not necessarily wins. So I don't see why it would be ranked only.
Yeah.
Well, give me a second. So let me answer Crossheart 19's question. He said, regarding the game, do you think this game will be more successful than Gundam Versus when it came out? If so, what are the chances we'll get EXVS 2? So here's the thing, bro. We are basically guaranteed to have M-Bomb be more successful than Gundam Versus because of several reasons. Number one, we're already able to tell that. Well, sorry, put it this way, right? Gundam Versus was a new game from the ground up. That's one. Gundam Versus also had DLC, which was released in a very poor fashion. Namco did not learn from how they released Full Boost, the way they did release DLC. I feel like most people didn't like it. Not only that, but they also introduced suits into Full Boost that did not belong in the game. Banshee Norn was from Maxi Boost, and it showed because it was strong. Full Armor Unicorn did not belong in the game, and it showed. You know, all the suits that were strong in that game in Full Boost, for example, were from M-Bomb, and they stopped. And then you look at Gundam Versus, you had the issue of balance with certain strikers being too good, with, in my opinion, the 200s being almost completely worthless, and the fact that then they just went dark. Most people, you know, also did not like the boost dive function.
Boost dive, strikers.
Comparatively, if you look at M-Bomb is an established game that was clearly very, very popular. Like how Latios was just explaining how some people just have multiple, master level suits with gold 15 on them, and the game is basically being given to us at a good point in that game's life where balance is mostly pretty good. It doesn't look like we have to worry much about getting, beat over the head with DLC, which certain games and certain companies are pretty bad about abusing. So I think it's And I think it's a very easy yes that M-Bon is going to do better than Gundam Versus. As far as when we're gonna get EX Versus 2,
So probably never. So the extended reason for that is the main moneymaker for the Versus series is arcades. And I know they explained it in the graphic, Bandai specifically, and I don't remember where it is. But they're we make most of our money with the arcade version. Like that's why they don't necessarily focus on the console versions too much, because they know if people buy the console versions and they do sell really well, that's just less money for them because they're not paying for every single match; it's just paying for a single game. So I mean, Maxi Boost in particular is a 5-year-old game at this point. I think like 5 or 6 years old. That's the only reason they're releasing. The only reason they're releasing it now is because all of the Maxi Boost machines, their network is down, so you can't even technically play that game anymore. Well, at least in a network sense, in a local sense, you can. So they're just like trying to capitalize and trying to make money off of Maxi Boost in another way. So EXVS 2, if we ever get it, like I have no idea. Like maybe in five years, I guess. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, probably further down than like the PS5's release lifespan. We may get. This is the Leos 2 Valiant Surface.
Yeah. So I posted this video really quick so we can just get another change of pace. So if we had Master, who's like a fully in-your-face front suit, DX is a bit mixed. Leos 2 is he has good melee capabilities and he's a general all-rounder. This particular Leos player kind of stays in the back and tries to attack who he sees and who he's guessing. So you see even right now, he's attacking the Master, but he's staying away from him, shooting, staying back, go back, all right, what's going on? Shooting again, all right, what's going on? And just trying to keep the distance. So this is a little more of a passive play style because he's able to attack from long range.
Mm-hmm. And it's still a level of fronting too, regardless, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, fronting, and at the end of the day, you're supposed to pressure the opponent. So even though he's staying back and like not being super aggressive, he still needs to make sure like to let the opponent know, hey, I'm here, and hey, I can kill you, and hey, I can damage you. Just because I'm far away doesn't mean I'm not in your face.
Mm-hmm. Damn, the way he's landing those girls is just ridiculous.
Yeah, he is on point. I follow all the good players. I wouldn't show you bad gameplay.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just rare to come across bad gameplay in general for like the old footage.
Yeah, there's some memers out there.
Yeah,
they definitely exist.
I remember there was a video that I watched before that was for Gundam Versus, where this person was basically doing his own commentary, but then he was always like adding like these silly little sound effects and whatever when he was like doing things, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, there are a lot of like non-competitive Gundam YouTubers as well, and they're like mid-level and like they don't go to tournaments and stuff like that, but they love the game and they still play it.
Yep.
But yeah, just like Token Black, I said most people really didn't like Versus. I'm talking like, if I'm not mistaken, the Japanese got upset, and if I'm understanding properly, the Japanese players got upset with what Gundam Versus was, and apparently, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, the reaction to Gundam Versus was so negative that Bamco like rushed an announcement of EX Versus 2. Is that true?
Ah, that's interesting.
I don't know if they rushed an announcement, but there was a general sentiment, which is funny because I know there are some Gundam YouTubers that started with Versus and then made their way to arcade. I know like 2 of them like that. So there are some people that appreciated it for sure, but generally it was just not well liked for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the joke of GVS being the beta test of EXVS 2 kind of made a little bit more sense when you start seeing some really interesting developments from certain suits in EXVS 2 compared to what they were in GVS. It's funny as hell whenever I see Pale Rider of all suits. It's just slapped from GVS all the way to EXVS 2, and it's doing much better in EXVS 2 than it is in GVS for some reason. So I guess it's just a situation where some suits really do not fit the landscape at all, which probably explains the balance is so out of whack when it comes to GVS. You ready? It just probably explains as to why the balance was out of whack for GVS for some suits, because I could tell, like, out of like the many missing link suits, I think the best fit was Vincent's high mobility Gelgoog, and it sucked.
Yes. So from the chat, I hope I'm saying their name properly for Xerox. Yeah, some of the uploaders are just like their skill levels are different from their opponents. Yeah, you're gonna see that. There are. I know there are some channels that strictly fight like their friends or their upload tournament footage. But I mean, for a lot of games, I mean any game in general, you're just gonna see you could have like the uploader just like uploading all their wins and like not really showing their mistakes and stuff like that. So that's just something you have to keep in mind as well. But generally, from like the footage I've seen of and you can look up match videos or like mini tournaments. You can see videos of people in general skill levels. Because there are some people that upload like beginner or intermediate tournaments. Like those are definitely out there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot more in-house camaraderie, if anything else. But those that actually play against random players, you can probably see a difference in their level of play after, like, within the first few, I would say, minutes of their videos or first few seconds. But then again, the context is only in the beholder of those who upload the video. Unless if they make it completely blatant that they're just playing with their friends.
So yeah, I like this video as sort of like an example of just I was using it more as like not really to show the skill level of the player, even though I think the player playing is pretty alright and their opponents are okay. But more just like the play style of what this Leos is going for. Just like still being aggressive and still being annoying, but just staying back.
Yeah. Honestly, I want to try this suit a little bit more. It seems so interesting, but I'm just trying to figure out exactly what will be the best way in order to make use of it.
Oh, he did it right there. See the Oki, but he mistimed it. He tried to do the Jirobi Oki.
Mm-hmm.
He mistimed it though. But yeah, it works sometimes. Like it's really hard to get off because like we have variable wake up timings, so you have to really guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, to respond to that comment in the chat, Gundam is just in a weird place in the Western world for whatever reason. Like I feel like it has a very dedicated niche fan base, but then when you try to get like other people into it, it's kind of difficult. And the issue that Maxi Busan is going to have is just when trying to get people to play it, it's just like the difficulty level of just trying to get in there because the game doesn't teach you anything. And for a lot of people, that's going to be a negative. Like if the game doesn't have a tutorial or if the game isn't going to teach me, I'm not going to give it the time of day. But there are other people that like take initiative. Like okay, the game doesn't have the tutorial. Sure, let me look up online. Let me see what YouTube videos are out there, things like that, et cetera, et cetera. So it all kind of depends on the audience and who's going to buy. But I think it has PvE content, not a lot. I mean, it has the arcade mode and the mission mode, and I enjoyed playing those when they were back in vanilla. I thought they were really, really fun. But I think still think the biggest hurdle is going to be people trying to learn this game.
Yeah.
So we make memes all the time of what beginners do with the XES and the Shining Gundams and that kind of stuff. Like we see them everywhere.
Yeah, I gotta give it thanks to Pompidou for making that Shining Gundam meme. He's the one that actually did it.
Yeah, it seems like Shining Gundam is just that suit right now.
Yeah, he's the sword dispenser pretty much. He will ruin your day if you just let him go ahead. Well, ruin the day for the other team. That's how much of a menace he is.
Let me see if I can. I'm trying to see a video of a back suit this time. It's not just to see the perspective of like, well, like we talked about the front the entire time, which is fine, but it's just like, okay, I found it because I like this suit a lot. I don't play it, but I like this suit a lot.
And what suit is this?
I'll let you know in 1 second. This is the right video? Yes. Okay. This is like... Like when someone says like think of a back suit, I immediately go to this suit right here. I posted the video in the chat.
Okay.
But yeah, just fronting has various play styles depending on the suit you're using and just a team comp. So we're gonna be looking at a video of Luna Maria suit.
Oh, the gunner Zaku.
I don't play this suit at all, but it's my favorite suit just because to me it just represents like the full back play style of like trying to stay alive as long as possible, assessing the situation, and just seeing what goes on. Can we not watch Gunner Zaku? Why not? It's my favorite suit.
You're gonna watch it and you're gonna like
it. We'll watch it for like a minute or two then, because I really do like this suit just to explain to someone what a back should be doing and focusing on. It's a boring suit, and I'm pretty sure people have seen it a lot, especially if you play full boost.
Oh yeah,
this was a really good suit. But I think as like an example, I just think it's really good to show people.
Mm-hmm. A friend of mine kind of gave it the name, I think it was a shared name too, the Scrubber Zaku, because of how good it really was. How really good it was in full boost. I'm pretty sure Densuo will exactly know who coined that name, but he used to play full boost at some point, but he kind of stopped after a while. But yeah, if that was the suit that he introduced me to when I was first introduced to full boost because of him, he definitely told me about this mobile suit in particular because of how good it was. And when I actually got my hands on full boost and saw this suit in action, I was wondering how the hell am I getting hit from this far from a move that slow and I'm bleeding already.
Can we only watch Gunner Zaku when she pops S-Burst? Sure.
Kono! Just throw tomahawks, just fire her main, just all kinds of chaos.
I was never a super huge fan of like telling people what suits to pick as a beginner. I just like going for your favorite suits or whoever looks cool. But if I were to say like a beginner back suit, like Luna Maria Hawk for sure, just like will teach you everything you need to know of like how to not be super aggressive, how to pick your targets, being aware of the situation, and everything like that. I think she's a really good suit to start with.
Yep. Plus her main. Her main has
even though she's weaker and maxi boost on, she still gets she gets a job done.
Yeah, and her main recovers pretty fast.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Her main recovers pretty fast. She has really good assists. I think the Phantom Zaku has some really good tracking. She has her Tomahawk that's cancelable as well from those assists, so you can cover not only herself, but the assist from being destroyed, or if someone's getting too close, you're going to get hit for the troubles. She's pretty well-rounded in the sense that everything that she has in her kit just protects her pretty well. And also provides a bit of offense.
We have some suit bigotry in the chat.
Oh, man. Not all suits are a protected class.
But also, you have some players that have like never watched Gundam. They only like play the game, so they don't have that experience of like, oh, this is a show I hate or this is a suit I hate. They just go by playstyle. I definitely know a lot of people like that.
Yep.
And they have zero idea like why we hate this character or why we hate this suit. It's like, oh, this suit looks cool. I don't know why you guys hate him so much.
And then they actually learn the reason why firsthand, and then they also jump on the train at that point.
And then they also don't understand why all the 00 suits are always good.
Yeah. Exam.
Yes, that's called bigotry checks. That's exactly what I was pointing out.
Transam. I don't know why I kept on saying exam for some reason. But
so this is a rough situation right here. This is a Reborn's like going after that Luna.
Yep.
Specifically, because he understands like, all right, I need to get rid of this girl as soon as fucking possible.
C2s have those toothpaste beams. Most of those beams are sponsored by Aquafresh, so that's the reason why they're that way. You
But yeah,
gotta.
so we were talking about fronts the entire time, and you kind of see the difference with a backseat right here. Like she's switching targets constantly because she needs to be aware of like what is going on as his reborns are just chasing her to the hell down. And like she finished off the reborns, like okay, now next suit, what's going on? Okay, next suit, next suit, next suit. But she's always switching around, making sure she knows what's going on. She needs to be really careful here. Oh, good stuff.
Eat. Yeah, we got guard broken. Guard broken again. The defense.
Wow, she did. Wow. Wow, that was really good. That was really good defense.
Yeah. And blocking like that is extremely hard.
Really good defense. Holy shit.
Yeah, blocking like that is really hard too. Because I don't know if you can readjust your guard every time you block, but
you have to time it because I know I messed up multiple guards all the time. It's something you have to know for sure.
I can imagine having to buffer the input repeatedly every time you switch a direction.
That was really good stuff. But yeah, I think like when we were on the topic of fronts for today, I think that's almost everything I can think of for like front play. Because if you're talking from a beginner level or intermediate level, I mean advanced players kind of already know what they're doing, and if we go into like advanced tactics, it might confuse some people a little bit. But like for intermediate and for like beginner players, the front position, while scary, it'll just teach you the game. And fundamentals go a really, really long way when you want to move to different suits, or you want to go to a back position, or just trying to change positions in between a match. Just like learning front first and learning what a front suit does and like their responsibilities, it just goes a long way. Even if you don't want to play front, or if you just want to stick to like 1Ks or 1.5s later on. But just getting the front out of the way and learning that suit first is just a good way to start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, welcome back, Dan.
All right, I'm back.
Now we're just showing the stream sort of the backing roles. We just showed Gunner Zaku, or the Scrubber Zaku, as a certain someone said.
Scrubber Zaku.
Yeah, you know exactly who coined that term.
Probably Evan. It's always Evan's fault.
No, like someone relatively close to us.
Really? Who?
Dark Sim.
Jack. Oh,
Dark Sim.
he would say that.
He would say that.
He would say that.
I would say once you start getting better at the game, one thing that is not talked about, I think, enough, or maybe in my circles, because maybe I don't follow enough NA people for that kind of discussion, is team composition. I think that's something that's left for like advanced level, or once you start going to tournaments and stuff like that. Yeah. Because for the most part, when you're playing online, it's like whoever teams up with you just have to figure it out. And that will separate the men from the boys. But like once you start getting into like advanced level or start playing in tournaments, and you start thinking about team comps and like matchups and things like that, that's when things get way more complicated. Because I definitely like don't hear enough about like, oh, this suit is bad against this suit or better against this suit or stuff like that. I know the Japanese players talk about it a lot, but I don't really hear a lot of that talk on the NA front, or I probably just don't see it. But that's something left more for the advanced level, because intermediate and beginner levels, you're just worried about fundamentals and just trying to learn the game basically. Team comps, you can kind of worry about that later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna go a long way when it comes to the game's development and being a player in general.
Because there's a matchup right now, like Strike Freedom destroys Burning. That's not even up for debate. Like, if he has proper spacing, Burning can't do shit.
Nope. Because those Dragoons are gonna be, especially if he's right by him in neutral, it's just gonna shut down everything, including the God Shadow. And even then, the Gyros is just gonna rip through everything because of how wide it hits.
I mean, the videos of Master that we saw earlier, he was doing a great job. But generally, against long range shoots, like he's gonna have trouble because of his own short range. So if the other player is just really good at keeping him out, you're just kind of twiddling your thumbs and getting angry, like I do sometimes. Like, oh my god, I cannot get in. It's frustrating.
Yeah. And I noticed how this Barbaros is just isolating the Exia so it doesn't get too close to the burning.
Yeah, the burning needs all the help it can get, so he needs to keep the Exia like at bay.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of a conversation that me, Riddler, and Fox had, where sometimes certain players would prefer, in general, that you keep the enemies back off of them as long as you can, almost to the point of just isolating them. So the more you turn it into 1v1 situation, if they are strong in keeping that 1v1 situation in their favor, then you might actually have a chance in turning the tides. And you're just pretty much letting the front do the rest of the work at that point. The only time
when I'm playing online and it doesn't allow for like advanced strategies or discussion, that's generally what I want my back to do. Just take care of the other back, I'll take care of the front, and we can make it happen.
Yeah. Some suits, yeah. Oh yeah, Chex asked, how much do you like hot scramble?
Why would you ever ask me that question? we don't talk about hot scramble.
Hot cancer. That thing was an absolute bastard in GVS when it first came out.
I think I might have fought over the beta Master versus the hot scramble, and that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
In particular, because not just because of the funnels, but hot scramble also has fences, and as a running suit, you're gonna run into the fences. Like, what do you want?
Mm-hmm. And not even Kshatriya was able to kind of fence out Master that easily, because it's not as easily telegraphed compared to hot scramble.
Yeah, but I think once you get into higher levels of play, you'll have discussions on like matchups and like what suits are good for this suits and team comps. That's definitely something you'll worry about at high levels. At lower levels, you don't really have that opportunity, especially online. You just kind of take what you can get and you make it work. Mm-hmm. But I definitely, whenever possible, I'd like to have like a higher level discussion of like matchups. If you would focus on a suit, who is the suit good against, who are they bad against, and like go from there. I think that'd be a really fun discussion to have.
Alrighty. So then, do you think we covered a good grip of what we wanted to talk about?
I think I got everything I wanted to get across. Just a different fronting play styles, burst usage, examples of suits in the videos that I posted in chat of just like how those styles work, and then also a little bit on like how the back works. I think I got my point across. If you have any particular questions for me, I'm definitely no expert, but I like talking about the game a lot, and I like giving people examples. You can reach out to me on Twitter. It's still at LatiosG, so you can reach out to me there. You DM me or at me or something or whatever, or at me in chat. And then if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Again, I'm no expert, and I'm definitely not no top level player. But I like giving my opinion. I like giving examples of videos. I'm pretty good on that. So.
All right.
That's all I got.
Okay. So
I think this was a pretty good one today. A lot of stuff to talk about for fronting. It's a good thing.
Yep.
Good examples too with the match videos too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we nearly hit 2 hours for this too. So we really had a nice discussion.
Gundam, when you get into the high levels of it, it's a lot to talk about. You can have the same discussion with backs as well. It is how that works. Even though we went kind of into it, but there's a lot of stuff you can do.
Mm-hmm. Also, one more thing before you go. Did you celebrate Melody's birthday today?
Oh my god!
Somebody ban this guy from my stream, please.
Wait, what?
We can't talk about that on stream. It's not appropriate.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, this was fun. If you ever need any assistance on anything else, I play a wide variety of suits, but I think there's only like one or two I'd be like confident in talking about. Like Master in particular, because I've played Master a lot. Funny enough, he's not my main suit, but he basically, if I had to play a tournament, I'd be playing Master because I played him the most. But there's also a bunch of other suits that I like as well. And I play a lot of melee suits as well, and I know people love playing melee, and that's a particular style that you kind of have to learn because it's not easy, especially in this game.
Yep.
But there are good melee suits, so there's definitely stuff for us melee players to eat. But it's just a general different play style than what the game allows. So, but if you need help with melee suits as well, I can give some guidance.
Especially with the red, stray red frame.
I think that's gonna be a really popular suit, even though he's not like good at all. But I can help with red frame. He's a really cool suit.
Alrighty. So I guess that's all for tonight, everybody.
I appreciate you guys having me on. This was a good time.
Hey, it's all forward, man. Good to have you on as well. So I'm just gonna kick on the outro and just debrief everybody and just go from there.
Adios.
Adios, Latios.
Take it easy, fellas. Have a good one, fellas.
You too. Okay, so I guess we've nearly 2 hours of all this, man. Definitely a lot of great information that we pulled in. Thanks to Latios for stopping on by and being a wonderful help in discussing this topic in particular. I know some new players and maybe some intermediate players may have been struggling with the idea of how to front or what fronting is, but I'm glad that we actually took the time in order to hash this out. Now let me just get the debriefing theme. If I could just... There we go. So, to everybody that has stopped on by, much appreciated. To those who followed, also very appreciated as well. I'm hoping that everybody takes this information with a great amount of sincerity. Looking forward to how people develop in this game, new and familiar players. Hope I actually also see some rising stars come up from all this too. Maybe somewhere down the line we're going to talk about backing, see if we could get someone for that in particular. But, yeah. Hope everybody had a wonderful time, and I'll see you next time. Don't know if I might be streaming later on in the week before whatchamacallit, the next wave of demos. So, hope to see you guys and gals whenever we get the chance. I might actually stream some Lost Planet whenever I have the opportunity to, or if I'm actually in the mood for it, because I haven't really been doing much of anything. But enough about me. I'll probably see you guys for a raid. Till then, see you next time.